What's up, my fellow legendaries? This is Rayquaza, and today I have a Gladiator Beast plus Prisma deck profile. I decided I would do this deck because it got some new support recently in Tenki. So, let's get right into the deck profile. But before I do that, I am going to go with what you guys were talking about. I am going to wait for it, post commentate my duel videos and then just like speed them up, because like you guys are gonna, you can watch my deck profiles and see what cards do, and then you can then just see how the deck works. It's not, you basically can see what's happening. I'll post commentate, so I will mention big plays, but I'll probably just talk about different stuff too. First, we've got one Bestiary, pretty much the standard, like the best Gladiator Beast card there is. If I could run 3 of them, I would. No, maybe not 3, but I'd definitely run 2. When it's special summoned by defective Gladiator Beast, it basically has an MST-like effect. And at the end of the battle phase, it has the same effect with all other Gladiator Beasts you can tag out for something else. It's really handy because it has the MST destruction effect, and you can go into Geysirus, which I'll go into later. Next, I've got Triple Aquari. Aquari, if you tag out for him, he has 2100 attack, and it has the standard tag out effect if it's attacked. Not much to explain there. It's worth mentioning that this deck has 5 Rhoda cards now. Triple Proving Ground, double Tenki. I don't run triple Tenki because I feel like it's not that great, and you can Tenki only gets you your Darius or your Laquari, which is still pretty good, but you don't always need stuff in your hand. You only really need one Gladiator Beast, and you basically can search into anything else. The deck isn't like, you can literally have Boboku set in Murmillo in attack mode and still get a tag out off. So, and then Darius gets its effect, etc. Darius is better mid to late game. Well, whenever you have a Gladiator Beast in your graveyard, especially Bestiary, it's really good after you use Prism to dump Bestiary in the grave. Darius's effect is, if it's special summoned by defect of a Gladiator Beast, basically if they tag it in, you can target one Glad Beast in your graveyard, special summon that target, and its effects are negated. And when this guy's shuffled in the deck, that one's shuffled in the deck as well. Then this guy has also the tag out effect. But you can, special summon doesn't like ever come in handy because you're pretty much going to be using Darius to get yourself like a Laquari and go into Heraclinos, or grab Bestiary and go into Geysirus, or take that monster and overlay into something. Yeah. Next we've got Double Murmillo. The reason I'm running Murmillo is because this deck has a feel of anti-meta to it. Murmillo is a 1 card out to Ophion, which is really good. That's why I run 2 of them. Not everyone runs 2, but I really like. Ophion prevents you from tagging into these guys. I believe it says level 5 or higher, so you can't even go into this guy. And that wouldn't even help you anyway, because the guy has 2550 attack. So yeah, you get 1 card out to Murmillo, seems pretty good. 1 card out to Bestiary seems... Yeah, Ophion. Or any other problematic card, like... like Thunder King. Well, Thunder King can negate his special summon, but if Murmillo dies, then that doesn't do much of anything, because you can Darius, bring him back, and then just like attack with them with Murmillo. If they get attacked in Waboku, then you can tag them both. You can have Murmillo tag out first and Darius tag out second, so Darius's effect doesn't shuffle Murmillo back into the deck. Then I've got one Secutor. This card's really good, but it does have a weak attack and defense, so I only run 1 of them. If it's special summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast, then if it's attacked or if it attacks or is attacked, you can tag it out for 2 Gladiator Beasts. So if it gets tagged out for, you can tag it out for 2 monsters. which first of all is handy for getting out Gazaris, because you can go Bestiary plus Murmillo. So you can go Bestiary, blow up a back row, Murmillo, blow up a monster, tag them both out for Gazaris, Gazaris effect, pop 2 more cards. You just went 1 card plus Waboku, or this ramming into one of your opponent's face downs, into destroy a monster, destroy a spell and trap card, destroy 2 more cards. It's basically Black Rose Dragon, except you have except you still have Black Rose Dragon on board with the 2400 attack. And this guy can still tag out for 2 other guys, which is, you basically can make Heraclinos pretty easily. Yeah, that's the thing. Also, now we get into the more 1 cards that I run. Most people run 2 or 3 a quest. I really don't like a quest at 2 or 3. 1's plenty. I'd rather have Darius special summon the guy in the grave than a quest returned back to my hand. A quest has the same effect as Darius, except it grabs a Gladiator Beast and adds it to the hand for its effect. And that's it. So I don't like it that much, but it can be really handy in certain situations. Next, we've got 1 Hippodamus. This guy is basically a good set face down, let your opponent attack into it so you can tag out for something better. And if you tag out into it, it has 2400 defense, which, if your opponent was dumb and called out spell or trap cards so you can't War Chariot their Shockmaster, like the next turn they try to use its effect, you can go into Hippodamus and just wall it with 2400 defense. They probably call out monster effects, so then if you have a Glad Beast on board plus War Chariot, you can chain it, so that's not that difficult. The deck is pretty anti-meta. Next I've got double Test Tiger. You can run as many Test Tigers as you want. I feel 3 clogs too much though. Test Tiger is basically, you got a Gladiator Beast, special summon this guy, then you can tribute Test Tiger to tag out the Gladiator Beast as it was, and then special summon another Gladiator Beast. And it's treated as if it was special summoned properly. It's worth mentioning that if you use Test Tiger plus Secutor, you only get 1 tag in, not 2, because Test Tiger specifically says you tag 1 in. And you can drop Test Tiger on Geysaris or Estiari. I know you guys might think I'm saying the cards' names wrong, but I took Latin, so I actually know pretty much what their names actually are. So, yeah. I have 1 Stratos, double Prisma. Stratos basically searches for Prisma. Prisma basically you reveal Gazaris, and then you get Bestiary's name, which is really useful because if your opponent's playing, Prohibition, and they call up Bestiary, you can still go Prisma, send Bestiary, and copy the name. Because if they yell Prohibition, Bestiary, it's usually pretty bad. But if you can go into Prisma, and then tag them both out for Gazaris, you can tag out Prisma, by the way, for Gazaris, because Gazaris specifically says you tag those 2 out. Like, you shuffle them both back into the deck, and blow up 2 cards. So, yeah. You are able to tag him out, and then Gazaris, you can pop the Prohibitions to allow yourself to use that Bestiary when you bring it back, bringing it back with Darius as soon as Gazaris dies or something. Another really cool combo that's worth mentioning is you can go Gazaris, you can make Gazaris, if you have Gazaris on board, you can normal summon Prisma, send Bestiary that you contacted, well, I'm just going to say contacted, because it's basically a contact fusion that you send back into the deck. You can then reveal your second Gazaris, dump Bestiary. This guy's name is now Bestiary, so you can tag Prisma and Gazaris out for another Gazaris. This Gazaris now pops 2 more cards. So you basically turned 1 more monster into a route to get Bestiary into the grave and pop 2 more cards, which is pretty handy. It's worth mentioning that if you felt like it, you could probably run Icarus Attack in this deck if you wanted to run more a quest, because Gazaris, Bestiary, and a quest are are winged beasts. So depending on how many quests you run, you could run Icarus Attack and be like, make Azorius pop 2 cards, Icarus Attack pop 2 more cards without having to go into the Prisma. Next, I already explained it. You've got 5 Rhodas. Tenki also gives your Laquari and your Darius an extra 100 attack, and your Heraclinos, if it wasn't overpowered enough, that has a Solemn Judgment effect for discarding a card, and has 3,000 attack, you can make it 3,100 attack. And then I run 1 Respite. This is basically Moray of Greed, except better than in Mermails, because you don't want many Gladiator Beasts in your hand. Also, if you got Respite, typically it's not that big of a deal. You should have a Tenki and have like a Gladiator Beast plus a Proving Ground or a Tenki to be able to shuffle stuff back into the deck. Next, we've got these 3 are standard in all decks. You should basically know what they do by now. Mind Control is mandatory in this deck. Absolutely mandatory. Mind Control gives you a route to steal your opponent's monsters so you can attack directly to allow yourself to tag out into more options. Even more abusive is the fact that you can use Murmillo to pop stuff that you grabbed with Mind Control if it's on your side of the field, or use Gazaris to pop it. So if you're able to steal your opponent's, say, Ophion, make Gazaris, you could just make Murmillo typical, but if you can't get over Ophion, you can go Mind Control, poke directly with any of your gladiators, tag out for Murmillo, have Murmillo pop Ophion, and stuff like that. And it's just really nice for getting rid of problematic cards or moving your opponent's big monsters out of the way so you can tag out for something really good. Even Astari. Astari is basically there if you don't have Laquari or Bestiary. You should, but just in case, there's 2 Astaris. Then 2 MSTs just to get rid of back row so you can poke directly. That should be pretty standard. Next, we've got Double War Chariot. It's basically Divine Wrath that it's a Divine Wrath that you don't have to discard for as long as you have Gladiator Beast. It's really nice. Like I said before, you can use it with Shockmaster. Your opponent's Shockmaster tries to call out monster effects, because that's going to be really bad, even if you have Mind Control to steal it. It doesn't help, because you still can't tag out. So that's what the Double War Chariot is for. I don't run Triple War Chariot. You could easily cut Solemn Judgment for the 3rd one if you don't want to lose half your life points. But I really just I think 3 clogs too much. Just think of it this way. Would you ever run Triple Divine Wrath? No, because you have to discard cards. Unless, well, I don't even think it works in Dark Worlds, because I think it's the discards at cost, so you don't get the effect of the Dark World. Anyway, then we've got Solemn Warning, which is basically the counter trap lineup. And Solemn Judgment's there because it's there. I wish Warning would come back to 2 and they'd ban Judgment so I could run 2 Warnings. Next, I've got Double Deprism. Just in case your opponent's monster is really problematic, you can just get rid of the resource. If your opponent summons a problematic card, just Torrential. If your monsters die, it's no big deal. You can grab them back with Darius, typically. Then you've got Bottomless. That should be self-explanatory. It's really good against Rabbit, because they go Rabbit into the 2 normal guys. And like I said, this deck's sort of anti-meta, so I do like Bottomless Triple. And we've got Triple Woboku. Woboku is basically Threatening Roar, except it prevents your monsters from except the battle continues. You just take no battle damage. Your monsters don't die in battle. You might be wondering, what does that even mean? That means that your monsters can still tag out because they were still attacked. You can go, your opponent attacks into one of their guys, chain Woboku. It doesn't die. You take no battle damage, but at the end of the battle, their battle phase, you can still tag out. I already explained what most of the extra deck stuff does. Gazaris pops 2 cards. You can tag it out for 2. You can't tag out Heraclinos, but it has an effect. You can discard a card to have a Solemn Judgment-like effect. If having Double War Chariot and Solemn Judgment and Solemn Warning wasn't enough, you now have a 3000 beat stick that works as a solemn judgment. And you've got Stardust just in case you mind control or Monster Reborn or something that you can synchro into. Because you don't want your monsters to die. It's pretty important. If your opponent has Mirror Force, that can be pretty annoying. Which is sort of what Solemn Judgment and the Double MST and the Heavy Storm are for. And run whatever the heck you want for rank 4s. You have plenty of room in the extra deck, so just go all out with 7 different rank 4s that you need 2 guys to go into. I recommend Diamond Dire because you can anything in the deck aside from Hippodamus or Burmillo can be popped with its effect, not just Diamond Dire itself. And then last but not least, we've got Shockmaster. The play to go into Shockmaster is basically the same as the play to go into Heraclinos. You just choose whether you want to go into Shockmaster or Heraclinos when that situation comes up. What else? Yeah, Secutor makes it easier to go into Shockmaster and Heraclinos because if it's your opponent's turn and you Waboku and you go into your Laquari and Darius grabs something back, then you have 3 things on board and you still haven't even normal summoned yet. I believe that's all for this deck profile. I am planning on getting some duel videos with this deck, so bear with me on that. My internet was crapping out earlier when I was trying to get duels yesterday, so it might be a little bit. But anyway, let me know what you think of this deck. I'm still working on more stuff that either works with Tanky. Decks that work either with Tanky or some more cards that just came out. Let me just say that Cock-a-doodle-doo is a lot better than people say it is. Peace, YouTube.